Welcome to Making Money with Laura Sanders, a name you can trust. With over 20 years of real estate experience and selling over 150 homes a year, Laura Sanders is the #1 RE/MAX agent in the state of Florida for 2021. Join us each week as we discuss how to make money through buying and flipping homes, to renting versus selling, and everything in between. To join the conversation, call in live 888-994-4995, Studio A.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Making Money with Laura Sanders, and I am your host, Laura Sanders. Every week we talk about something that helps you make money, save money, something to make life a little bit better, if we could do that. Anyway, so today we're going to talk about mortgages and what's going on with mortgages. Are our rates going up? Are rates going down? Is the Fed anticipating any rate hikes? What is going on? So today we have one of our fabulous lenders, Max Fish from Nationwide Mortgage. Welcome, Max.
Thank you so much for having me again.
It's funny, today I was with a customer and he said, oh, the stock market's not doing well. Well, when the stock market doesn't do well, that's good for when people want to buy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell us what's going on right now in the market.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a ton of good things going on. Just in the past 3 weeks, I mean, we've seen rates decrease by over a full %.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, as of today, people with good credit are in the sixes. Low sixes for FHA, high sixes for conventional. And I'm talking about 0 points.
Now, how do you get this information across to people? I mean, I guess if you are listening to the radio, you're going to get it this way, right? Yeah. But unless you're watching television, are they even, I don't watch TV. So for me, I have to go online to look to see what's going on. I'm a realtor and I'm not hearing that low sixes in FHA. So how do we get this information out to the prospective buyers to get them back on the train to buy again? Well,
you know, it's really a trickle-down effect. It's kind of like the circle of business, right? For example, I work with a lot of agents that work with a lot of consumers, right? So it's our job, because it's our job as mortgage professionals to be monitoring the rates in the trends, like we're doing right now. Me telling you that, now that could turn into 10, 15, 20,
with
25.
My math?
Yeah, you
10,
know,
15, 25,
and so that's how that, you know, along with posting things about trends so people on social media can see it, really word of mouth and the relational aspect of it is the best way to do it, especially because you got to be careful as a mortgage professional what you're posting about interest rates, because in the way that you're posting them, because it could be misleading, it could be, you know.
Well, give us an example.
A lot of banks and lenders, what they do is they'll market low interest rates, but there will be high fees associated, right? And so it's kind of like a loaded, when people come up to me and they say, hey, what are the rates today? That's kind of like a loaded question, right? Because it's, what are you paying for it? You know, what is it costing you to get a rate? What's your credit score? What's your down payment? What kind of property is it? There's a lot of different factors. So posting and broadcasting interest rate is tough. That's why I like to do it a little bit more authentically, where it's, hey, I partner with Laura. Here's where we're at today. You might want to tell some of your buyers and borrowers that you're partnered with somebody that this is where their rates are today. And you can trust that that's going to be at no extra fees, if that makes sense.
Technically, on an FHA loan, we could do a buy down to almost in the 4s.
Yeah.
Which would, so how would that relate? Like if we were to buy down, let's use like, what's today's FHA purchase price?
Like the loan limit?
Yeah.
As it stands right now, it's $557,750.
And do we have any thoughts of it going up in January of
2021? So there's word that it's going to go up, you know, well into the 600, 620-ish.
Okay, and that's Broward County.
Tri-county area.
Okay, so it's going to be in Palm Beach, the same, they're keeping it same cost of 3 counties.
Yes.
Okay. So if I was to buy a $600,000 house today at 6% and I could get it down to 4, how much am I saving approximately in my payment?
You're saving close to $1,000 a month.
$1,000
for the first year.
2 points difference.
Yep.
So that's $12,000 that you could use to put in new floors. And then once you kind of get the house situated, right? Then you're going to feel comfortable with that payment because you're not putting out so much cash to. Yeah,
and maybe by that time, you know, rates are a little bit lower. Maybe you can refinance at that point into a lower rate, and you know, you just genuinely saved $12,000.
So typically on an FHA loan, what's the max contribution that an owner can give?
6%.
Okay, on an FHA loan.
Yeah.
Now it's different on different loans. Okay. So 6% on 400,000 is 24,000.
Yes, ma'am. Good math.
Mr. Turkletaub from 5th grade would be very proud of me. I spent a lot of time in front of his desk. I might.
There you go.
So a buy down on that same would be how much? You get 2 points down.
Roughly 2%, let's call it. So about 8,000.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it makes more sense to take the buy down for the 2 years then.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's the trend, because just, you know, this all happened within the past few weeks, because there's starting to become rumblings in kind of how you open the show today. Not only is it not going to happen, in my opinion, and based off of all the data that is out there, that the Fed is going to hike rates, they're actually the plan is in 2024 to start lowering them again.
But we'll never see 2 3/4.
No, I mean, not barring anything crazy happening like COVID.
Okay,
you
so
know?
I will tell you that from 2 weeks ago to today,
Yeah.
this past weekend, I saw a change in
Yeah,
a pickup
yeah.
in business.
Yeah.
I mean, like a week and a half ago, I was like, oh my God, what's going on? I'm Laura Sanders. And like,
Yeah.
Laura Sanders. And people ask all the time, are you busy, Laura? You're always busy, Laura. Yeah, people are giving me your listings. Like,
Yeah.
where people want to sell, but then I'm like, where are the buyers? And now you're starting to see, because typically December is, I wouldn't call it dead. I would call it slow.
Yeah. Well, here's a
Normally,
couple.
other than the last 2 years.
Here's a couple of perspective items. First off, I think our market right now is completely driven by interest rates. I mean, it's very clear. The second people hear that rates are coming down even a little bit, they're like, oh, I want to buy right now. It's all a mental thing, right? The whole additive is finance is 80% behavior and 20% math. Right? Like, things don't always mathematically have to make sense. It's all about the behavior of consumers. The statistic is, for every 1% drop in interest rate, 5 million buyers enter the market.
Okay.
So, you know, if interest rates are 8%, now they're 7%, 5 million people just entered the market. Now, obviously that's nationally, but the idea is that if it drops 2%, now you're 10 million. You're competing with a lot more people.
Right.
And so our market is completely driven by interest rates. It's probably part of the reason why you've seen it. Myself alone, I probably have 50 to 70 pre-approved buyers right now that are simply just waiting for rates to drop.
Well, they've dropped.
It's
time
all
to get on the phone.
I know, it's all of this pent-up demand.
But here's the thing, like, maybe I'm wrong to think like this, and maybe this is just how I drive my life. I tell people, they're like, well, rates are too high, I'm gonna stop looking. If you don't qualify, you don't qualify, right?
Sure.
But if you still qualify, but your brain is wrapped around the price, right?
Yeah.
Now, actually, it might make sense for some people that just bought to refinance.
I know, like just a month ago.
Like, that's
You know?
that's what's crazy, right?
I know.
I mean, that I find crazy. But like, to me, like, I'm just thinking, you know, in my head, like, I'm thinking, okay, what makes the most sense, right?
Yeah.
And it makes sense that if you find a house you love, that you should really just pull the trigger and buy it.
Yeah, because historically, you know, somebody said to me the other day, they said, you real estate people, it's funny.
You real
estate
we're
people.
bad people.
Yeah, it's funny. So they say, you real estate people are so optimistic about the market. And I said, well, it's not really hard to be optimistic about a real estate market that over the course of 100 years has shown you.
It's like a mutual fund.
Yeah, that there's going to be, it doesn't matter if you feel like you're buying at the height of the market right now. 3 years from now, it's going to seem like you got a deal.
Right?
You know,
Yeah.
it's one of those things where it's like easy to be optimistic about something that everybody's always won on.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, hold your thought about you real estate people, or us real estate people. We're going to go to commercial break. We're going to see some of our fantastic sponsors, which we have GT Closings, and we also have JK Closings. I got a lot of words. And of course, we have the marvelous Max Fish, so stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Whether you're buying, selling, refinancing, or building your dream home, you have a lot riding on your loan specialist. Max Fish, a top 1% mortgage loan officer in the nation, will give you a same-day qualifying quote. Max Fish is committed to providing his customers with mortgage services that exceed their expectations. Ensuring that you make the right choice for you and your family is his ultimate goal. Contact Max Fish today at 954-729-6933 or max.fisch@nwmcorp.net.
At JK Closing Attorneys, we do all of the same things that a title company does, but with the benefits of being a law office. We can help with residential real estate, short sales, commercial real estate, refinances, 1031 exchanges, and FRIPTA withholding.
Contact JK Closing Attorneys today at 954-332-3111. Again, that is 954-332-3111.
You have been watching Making Money with Laura. For more information, contact Laura Sanders at 954-650-0827 or visit her website at thelorasell.com. And now back to the show.
Welcome back to Making Money with Laura Sanders. I'm here with Max Fish, the mortgage extraordinaire. I actually got that out of my mouth. Anyway, we are talking about us real estate people that are just so positive about everything because we seem like we just want to sell you a house, right? No, not really. You tell people when it's wrong, when like they shouldn't do something. It's not a good choice.
Yeah, it's tough on my side because it's almost like sometimes I'm not a financial advisor. So it's my job to collect information and tell somebody what they qualify for, right? But I always am honest with people about whether or not, if they ask me my opinion, I'll tell them honestly, it's really not about the sale or what we're going to make, right? We want to make sure that people are in a good position. However, I would say 80 to 90%, I'm positive about real estate transactions simply because
it could take 5 years, it could take 10 years, but it always.
Simply because just like you, I see the value in owning real estate in this country. I mean, it's just, there's been nothing like it. Wealth hasn't been gained at that level in any other sector over the course of how long? 50 years?
I just had my annual holiday party, right?
Yeah.
And every year I call people and ask them, are you coming, are you coming, are you coming? And it's like, some of the people, like this year, it was like, how are you loving the house? Loving the house, great. I go, I bet you're glad you bought that house 5 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're like, they literally send back like an emoji, like a laughing emoji. Hell yeah.
Exactly.
But when they were buying it, even when they were buying it for me, I was like, this is a good sale. Like these people are buying, now, I mean, when I would sell a $550,000 house, I thought, like I'm selling the houses, right? Yeah. And now I'm looking, I'm like 550. I'm like, I can't find you a box in the middle of the, in the middle of like I-95, like, Well,
we hear stories about that all the time. I just was talking to a client last night. He was looking back in 2019, and he was looking in Parkland at $680 purchase price. And he didn't buy the house over a $3,000 fix or discrepancy or something with the seller. And
so he didn't buy it all.
He didn't buy it at all. Now it's worth $350,000 more.
But he hadn't bought anything, right?
No, he hadn't bought anything. He's been renting since 2019. And he called me, and it was like a come to Jesus moment because he was like, I missed out on that opportunity. I've been waiting for the right time over the past 3 years. I keep figuring out every single day that the right time was yesterday. That's it, and he's been in that hamster wheel for 4 years.
Right. So it's like, go back, pick a house, like look and see, like go to a neighborhood that you like, and then go back to, you can go click on the tax records and see. And it'll be like, okay, like 3 years ago, this is what they were selling for.
Yeah.
Now, some people get fixated on that and go, well, that's really all it's really worth. I'm like, no, it's worth what everybody's paying because, do things fluctuate? Of course they do. But I mean, I think the moral to today's, show is that rates are good.
Yeah.
You need to jump on the bandwagon. Now, of course, obviously, by the time you hear this, maybe rates are a little different, right? Yeah.
There's a lot of positivity, in my opinion, going on in the market right now. Yes, rates are higher.
Don't keep waiting, though, to see what the Fed's going to do. Because we're in an election year coming up.
You never know, and it's impossible to time, but rates are getting a little bit better. There's a program now that conventional loans are running, Fannie Mae in particular. They're pretty much giving a $5,000 grant to first-time homebuyers. No income restrictions. As long as you qualify for the conventional loan, they'll give you $5,000 towards your closing costs.
And what's that called? Or is this a secret? Called Max?
No, it's just a first-time homebuyer grant that Fannie Mae is doing. And the cool part about this stuff with Hometown Heroes and all this stuff is this stuff didn't exist when things were going crazy when rates were 2.8%.
Is the MCI program still in effect? Do you know what I'm talking about? You might not even be aware of it, and it might not be around anymore. There was a program called the MCI program.
Okay.
It wasn't the phone company.
Yeah.
They're out of business. Or MCC, I'm sorry. MCC program.
Oh,
MCC
now
program.
I know what you're talking about.
It was like a $2,000 tax credit.
Yeah.
Additionally, also though, it increased your income. So that, and it actually would help. Like there was a deal I had that was getting ready to crash and burn. The guy lost his second job.
Yep.
We
I
threw
know
the
what you're talking
MCC
about.
program in, and he actually qualified.
Yeah, I haven't heard about that program in a couple of years, simply because they made lending institutions, there's only a handful that you have to get certified through the state in order to be able to provide that. And it almost became, over the course of the last couple of years, impossible to recertify. So
For the lenders?
Yeah, for the lenders. So it was one of those things that's kind of become obsolete in a way, but it's definitely something to revisit and look into, because at these times when the real estate market is in flux and things are starting to come back, that's where you're going to have the best opportunity, not only in negotiating, but also with programs. $5,000 grant for first-time home buyers. Hometown Heroes is available. FHA down payment assistance. I mean, all of these things didn't exist. You couldn't get your offer accepted if you were using one of those things when rates were 2.8. Sellers would be like, no, kick rocks. I want somebody that has $100,000.
Or cash.
Or cash. $100,000 to pay over appraised value or cash, right? And so now there's a lot of opportunity for people,
And then refinance when it is good for
Correct.
you. And don't feel like you're pressured to have to pay $50,000.
And home buying is more affordable.
Yeah,
you know?
It's coming down a little bit. Not a lot. I mean, it still went up over the last year.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
I think
it's always,
that's crazy.
you know, South Florida real estate is, there's not anything like it right now in the country. Everybody wants to be here, you know?
Yeah.
So it's valuable, but you get what you're paid for, you know, is the old additive.
It's definitely.
You can go buy a $150,000 house in the middle of nowhere in Arkansas. I mean, people could do that, but.
I actually pulled up a house. I pulled up a house in Carthage, Missouri, and I was looking for an agent in Carthage, Missouri. So I pull up this house. It has a wraparound porch, and I'm like, oh, this is super cute. But it was falling down, and you could see on the sides the two houses.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
hell no. $125,000, right? I click on it. It was like your worst nightmare of like so much stuff in there.
Yeah.
I send a picture to my son, and he goes, just the right amount of clutter. I was like, oh my gosh.
Listen, if you want to be in Missouri, you know.
Freeze my tail off.
So yeah, that's where the positivity comes from.
Yeah, I definitely think we just need to let people know that rates are dropping. It's time to buy. Look for what you want. And even if rates start to go up again and you find what you like waiting is just,
Yeah.
you know, timing is everything, but timing can't always be right on.
Exactly. Well, this is the last show we're doing for the new year.
That is true.
So
That is true.
together.
So what do you have planned for your business in the new year?
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's going to be a fun 2024. You know, I think with the rates coming back down and buyers coming back into the market, it's just an exciting time to be able to help more families, you know, achieve home ownership. That's why I got into the business anyways. You know?
Do you do like client appreciation parties? Do you do anything to like
Yeah.
get people out to meet you?
Yeah, so I do a lot of client appreciation parties throughout the year, like get-togethers.
Right.
You know, I try to do one every quarter.
Okay.
You know, Taco Tuesday night or something like that, you know. But yeah, you know, it's one of those times that I personally, I'm practicing what I preach because I'm buying property too.
Oh, yeah?
Investment properties right now.
Are those properties definitely cash flowing?
Yeah.
Or are they,
Well, there's some in long-term
Let's talk about
leases.
cash flowing.
Sure.
Let's talk about what people don't realize.
Yeah.
So let's say that you buy something, because I would say, and let's be honest, right? The cash flow is different than the principal being gained
Yeah.
every month.
So it's funny you said that because I look at cash flow a little bit differently. A lot of
Yeah,
investors.
I wouldn't look at what is coming in every month.
Yeah, a lot of investors, they stand up on this on stage and they talk to people about if you're not making a certain amount of money a
Cap
month,
rate, yeah.
then you know it's not a good investment. Well, yeah, you want to be positive, but whether that's $100 or it's $1,000, yeah,
Or
we would
break
all love
even.
it to be 1,000 or break even.
You're still
What
building
people don't
principal.
realize is somebody's paying down your asset
Right.
that is also appreciating.
Right.
So it's almost like you're here, and as you're paying it down, it's also appreciating.
And the way I look at it is like a mutual fund, right? So if I put money into a mutual fund, right? The mutual fund, unless I'm trying to generate an income from it, which most people don't,
Yeah.
right? Because you want it to continue to grow. The mutual fund, right? You're putting it in and it's growing, hopefully. And
Yeah.
sometimes it comes down a little bit, but then it grows again. So it does that like a heartbeat, right?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
up and down, up
Yeah,
and
yeah.
down. Sometimes it goes a little more up, right? When you see a
Yeah.
pretty girl, your heart goes a little, flutters up more, right? So to me, it's like you're getting that money every month that you're paying down from somebody else paying it.
Yeah.
So the principal is coming from somebody else that's paying down your asset. And eventually in 30 years, you'll have the asset paid, or even if it is making cash flow, maybe it makes sense. It depends. You know.
Well, cash flow to me, you know, to piggyback off of what I said, cash flow to me is a cherry on top. You know, it's great, you know, making a little extra money on an asset that you own, but really it's, if you stick it out in the long game, that's where somebody's going to be paying it down. It's going to appreciate, and then, you know, that's where you can eventually make money and retire. Problem with retiring, and I know we're running short on time, but the problem with that is that people in my age group, and millennials, they all want to retire at 35, and they all want to retire like super young, and
Damn, I missed it.
It's one of those things where it's like, slow down for a second, like make long-term investments that make sense. You don't need to become a multi-millionaire within the next 5 years.
Are you saying, oh, because they're trying to buy too much at one time?
Yeah, well, it's all about like how much money can I make off of this real estate investment. Like if you own this property for 20 years, nobody thinks like this though.
Right.
If you own this property for 20 years, you're going to make money.
Right.
Well,
you know, of course.
You know, so stop thinking about what it's going to make you a year from now and start thinking about what it's going to make you 10, 15, 20 years from now.
Right.
You know.
So if somebody's thinking about getting a mortgage or refinancing, and they could refinance from 2 weeks ago, what's a good way to get a hold of you?
They can always call me, text me anytime at 954-729-6933. That's 954-729-6933.
And if you're looking for a top agent, somebody that can help make sure your home looks beautiful before going to market, make sure that we do all the repairs. If you're short on cash, don't have the money to do it, and feel like there's no other way to get it done, I definitely have some solutions for you. So give me a call, Laura Sanders, your favorite realtor, at 954-650-0827. I want to thank everybody for listening tonight, and have a great night.
Thank you for tuning in for Making Money with Laura Sanders, a name you can trust. To join the conversation, call us at the studio, 888-994-4995 Studio A, or contact Laura directly at 954-650-0827. Laura Sanders, a name you can trust. We look forward to seeing you next